And next up we have a GDI mirror matchup with ENEVION playing as gold GDI and jarda.malina playing as gold GDI. Both players have been playing the game quite a long time. It's cool to see them still active on ladder. I'm really interested to see how this goes. I haven't watched any of ENEVION's games yet this season, so it should be good. So ENEVION in the top right playing as the gold GDI, and jarda on the bottom left is the blue GDI. Traditionally both players will move their collier towards around here. Jarda's being super greedy. Rather than go around this side of the cliff, he went this way, which is already a bit unusual, but looks like he's going to plop himself right in the center of the map. Down he goes. It's useful for GDI if they can try and secure this whole center section, for sure, but you tend to see it more in GDI versus Nod matchups rather than GDI mirrors. We'll see how it works for a little bit of a delay. As you can see, the opponent's going to have the ground on top of his base first. He's going to scout it. There it is. So at this point he now knows where his opponent is. Jarda opening with the 2 rack start. It's going to enable him to build grounds pretty quick. A little bit of an unusual opener, but we'll see how it works in his favor. We see 1 ref in the back here from ENEVION, 1 in the front. Very nice diagonal line in terms of his base crawl. Good to see. We got the 3rd ref coming up for ENEVION. He's opting to try and build into his opponent, which is a good strategy in GDI v GDI. The only catch here is that jarda is now lining up his infantry, so it's going to be difficult for him to crawl much further in here. And jarda's actually gone for a comm center, which ENEVION, if we pop back just briefly here,
Construction complete.
did ENEVION get to see the placement? I think he might have. So 3rd ref goes down. Will we see the comm center? Currently selecting a bunch of units, spreading them out. This is good micro. I want to be careful with this. Yeah, comm center goes down, so it is within his vision. So he should be aware that an AGT is going to be coming out in the field. Needs to be careful with having his 2 harvesters here mind this tib field. You'd ideally want to micro this one, I guess, towards this field. Try to steal some of his tib. So at this point we're just going to be waiting for jarda to get out the AGT up here, but it might be too far away to do proper damage. A power plant might be nicer first. Meanwhile, ENEVION here has got 1, 2, 3, 4 refs. There's a little bit of a scout here, which he's taken care of. So jarda now can see a little bit of the side of his base. He sent it down here and around. It's pretty smart. So ENEVION now on 4 ref has opted for forward racks. This is always super nice to have, easy to reinforce this section of the map. Whereas jarda's now got no refs on these fields, but he's got 1, 2, 3 refs on this field is overkill, big time. Not quite sure what his thinking necessarily was here. Getting 2 refs on this field is probably okay. He should have really put a 3rd one here, I would suggest. But we see a comm center coming out now from ENEVION as well. So it's interesting that jarda went for that early comm center, but hasn't really put it to use yet. And now the AGT is down, but it's too far away, like I was saying earlier, in terms of range. This is going to be tricky. So what can happen now is ENEVION can pop an AGT here and target his AGT. But we'll see how this plays out. Having the AGT attack his Harv here, while it's going to do some damage to the Harv, it's doing more damage to his own eco because he's got 3 Harvs in this one field. And the AGT is going to tear apart this here. We see the AGT popping out here from ENEVION. Nice AGT mirror matchup taking place. Pretty cool. Not something you tend to see much. And it looks like jarda won the AGT battle off. But the eco here for jarda is going to be locked pretty soon when this might out. So I would definitely be saying ENEVION's in a slightly stronger position right now. 2nd AGT coming up. Out of the range of this one. This will also be able to take care of this section of tib, so if these harvesters come over, you might not necessarily kill a harvester, but the splash fire from the missiles will actually destroy the tib. So we'll see how that actually works out. Cool, now he's going to be forced to micro these down here, and they're now long distance mining. Meanwhile, we see a war factory has popped up for jarda, so going medium tanks, good counter to AGTs. We'll be curious to see if ENEVION goes for something similar, or if he'll opt for orcas. Of course, orcas will be susceptible to the anti-air effects of the existing AGTs. Taking a slight advantage here, structures don't automatically attack other structures, so you have to micro them. So this one had a slight lead, I believe. It was already low health when he started firing. He's going to get it down. Very nice. Possibly going to get this Harv too. Nah, but he has bled this field dry of cash. So now ENEVION's definitely going to be having a huge eco lead. This is a little bit worrying, because once these medium tanks get right up on top of your AGTs, if you can get right up next to them, they're going to do no damage. But Rocket Man, it's a nice touch if you can keep the Grens away from them. Quite expensive though. I would probably only go for 3 here if I was going to get some. AGTs, of course, doing some splash damage there as well. Painful to see. And it looks like Jarda's trying to cross the river here using sandbags and the power plant, but he's having an expensive time, especially with his opponent being right up on top of him here. We've got 3 AGTs to deal with. This AGT is practically locking down any production from these Raxes. And as you can see, AGT is going to polish off the opponent's Harv here. Going to get the Con Yard as well. No more AGTs in the field for Jarda now. All he has left is his War Factory pretty much. He's got a couple of infantry here he's trying to spam across, but Grens are going to be able to take him out. It's going to be GG. It's an interesting game. Cool to see AGT play in GDI mirror matchup, especially on this map. One player tending to go towards the middle. AGT is definitely beneficial for them. Interesting to see ENEVION go for the counter AGT play. Good to see that Jarda had the knowledge to go and switch to medium tank tech to help take on the AGTs, but ENEVION had already just done so much damage, and I think the biggest thing that hurt him in this match was having the 3 refs all taken from this field. If they were spread out a bit better, he might have been in a much stronger position. But overall, GG's. Cool to see ENEVION and Jarda play some games.
Battle control terminated.